Hello and welcome to our webinar, the Level 3 Diploma for the Advanced and Creative Hair Professionals. Before we start the webinar, I'd like to explain a few things about the platform to allow you to get the most out of your experience. All viewers will be in listen-only mode. However, you can engage with the webinar, but please use the on-screen panel. You can also use the questions and chat tabs to engage with us too. We do expect the webinar to be extremely popular, but we will do our very best to answer your questions. After the webinar, we will be providing you with a recording of it, a copy of the slides, and a fact sheet to address any unanswered questions. So let's take a look at today's agenda for the webinar. We'll be taking a look at the Advanced and Creative Hair Professional Standard and the overall grading of that standard from the IFATE website. We'll also be looking at the qualification that we developed to support the apprentices in preparing for endpoint assessment. I'll talk about some supporting documentation and resources that we have for you and how to keep in touch and book on to our events that will be coming up in the future. The Advanced and Creative Hair Professional was approved for delivery in February 2020, and it covers the following technical skills. Use fashion-forward trends in hair, creative and precision techniques to create a collection of hairstyle looks, smoothing and strengthening services, and advanced creative colour conversion. Let's look at the 3 stages of the Advanced and Creative Hair Professional Standard from IFATE. This standard does not have a mandatory qualification as part of it. Our customers ask for a Level 3 qualification, so don't worry, we've got the solution that will help you through the journey. So let's look at stage 1. This is typically a 12-month and 1-week on-programme training and development of the apprentice. The on-programme training and development over the 12-month apprenticeship enables the apprentice to build on the occupational standard and the knowledge, skills and behaviour. Stage 2 is our gateway stage. It's at this stage the employer is satisfied the apprentice is constantly working at or above a level of occupational standard. The apprentice must have achieved their maths and English at level 2 or components, and the apprentice must complete a collection of looks which will inform the professional discussion. Stage 3, the endpoint assessment, which would typically take 3 months. The 3 assessment methods used at the endpoint assessment are a knowledge test, observation and questioning, and professional discussion. The EPAO confirms the endpoint assessment outcome and grade. Let's take a dive into the endpoint assessment summary table. This is what we know from the published assessment plan. Currently, the endpoint assessment is in development. Now, this is taken from the IFATE website. So the endpoint assessment consists of 3 discrete assessment methods. The individual assessment methods will have the following grades. Assessment method 1, the knowledge test, will be a fail or a pass. Assessment method 2, observation and questioning, will be a fail, pass or distinction. Assessment method 3, professional discussion, will be a fail, pass or distinction. And performance in the endpoint assessment will determine the overall standard and grade of a fail, pass or distinction. We will be looking more closely at the 3 assessment methods later on in this webinar. The overall endpoint assessment grading table has been taken from the assessment plan, which can be found on the IFATE website. The overall grade will be based on the grades achieved in the 3 endpoint assessment methods, which is the knowledge test, the observation, questioning, and the professional discussion. All methods must be achieved at a minimum of a pass in order for the apprenticeship to be achieved. Grades from the individual assessment methods should be combined in the following way to determine the grade of the endpoint assessment as a whole. It's at this point I would like to draw your attention to the fact that there is not a mandatory qualification as part of this standard. As I said previously, the endpoint assessment is under development. City and Guilds have approved the business case to develop our endpoint assessment offer for the Level 3 diploma for the Advanced and Creative Hair Professional Standard. We anticipate the first endpoint assessment registrations and bookings for early 2021. Our industry manager is in the process of completing the application to join the register of the endpoint assessment organisations for this standard, and we will be in touch with lots more details as soon as possible. If you follow us on Facebook or LinkedIn, you'll know that we have a solution. For those of you who don't follow us, keep calm, we have a solution to help you through the journey. Well, here's the solution. City and Guilds have developed a qualification to support the apprentices in preparing for their endpoint assessment, and this qualification went live on Monday the 2nd of March. The qualification has been developed to prepare the apprentice to have all the skills and knowledge to complete their endpoint assessment. The endpoint assessment is under development and is planned to be ready for January 2021. So what are the benefits of using a qualification? The qualification as part of your delivery will help support the apprentice with their personal development and well-being by seeing a clear progression to ensure that they can achieve their full potential at their endpoint assessment. The qualification has been developed to prepare the apprentice for each component of their endpoint assessment by having knowledge tests, case studies and assignments, and ongoing assessments to build and develop skills. The qualification also supports the assessors and training providers to ensure all skills and knowledge have been delivered. There's also a structured training plan which is measurable. The qualification is mapped to their endpoint assessment, and all the evidence gathered and produced in assignments for fashion-forward trends and smoothing and strengthening can be used towards the 7 pieces of evidence that is required part of the professional discussion at the endpoint assessment. And we'll look at this more closely later during this presentation. Here are some more benefits for using a qualification. As I said on the previous slide, the qualification as part of your delivery will help support the apprentice with their personal development and well-being by seeing clear progression to ensure that they can achieve their full potential at their endpoint assessment. So we feel it gives a systematic approach, provides the depth and breadth of study of hairdressing at the required level 3 standard, ensures that the level of underpinning knowledge and skills are standardised and achieved throughout the on-programme of study, promotes individual learning, developing the skills and the underpinning knowledge for the apprentice to achieve the full potential, and robust quality of teaching, learning and assessment for the qualification. And it has a clear sequence of delivery, a national scheme of work identifying all requirements for underpinning knowledge, practical skills and skills, knowledge and behaviour, a clear structure of study for teachers, learners and employers, recognition of prior learning, achievements and requirements if transferring between employers or education providers, and individual learning plans promote directive and inclusive learning. The Level 3 Diploma for the Advanced and Creative Hair Professionals has 6 units, mandatory units. We're going to be looking at these units more closely as we move forward in the presentation. But as we know, the element of fashion-forward trends in hair to create a collection of hairstyle looks as part of the standard is huge. So we have broken it down into 4 additional units. They are creatively restyle hair using a combination of techniques, creatively style and dress hair, provide client consultation services, and creative hair colour correction. We then have smoothing and strengthening systems and use fashion forming trends in hair to create a collection of hairstyle looks. Now, the majority of the qualification is based on units from the National Occupational Standards, which you've been using as part of the Level 3 Hairdressing Apprenticeship Framework, the old SACE framework, but with a few tweaks to ensure it completely maps to the endpoint assessment. So let's dive into each unit to see how they link to 600803. Let's take a look at the 6 units that make up our qualification. I would like to point out each unit has an online or short answer question paper. We recommend that the cross-unit knowledge test is taken before any other technical unit test. The cross-unit knowledge test has been devised to reduce the burden of over-assessment and repetition for the apprentice. As you can see on this slide, new areas or range added are highlighted in yellow. Now let's look at Unit 301. This unit maps directly to Unit 302 from 600803. So what are the changes to this unit? Well, as you can see in yellow, the title of the unit has changed from Cut to Restyle with added practical skills. The following sectioning patterns have been added to the unit, and they are round, square and triangular. Smart screen resources have been updated to include sectioning patterns and all cutting techniques. The following cutting techniques highlighted in yellow have been added and mapped to the standard and the endpoint assessment, and they are graduating, blending, over direction. We have advanced texturizing such as slide cutting, channel cutting, point cutting and slicing. Again, all smart screen resources have been updated to include these techniques: undercutting, razor cutting, close cutting and personalization. The assessor will observe the apprentice's performance on at least 6 occasions. Each observation must be on a different creative restyle and on a different client. On this slide, we will look at Unit 302, Creatively Style and Dress Hair. This unit maps directly to Unit 302 from 600803. So it's business as usual, no change to your scheme of work or your lesson plans, as they are exactly the same. Unit 303, Creative Hair Colour Correction Services. So what's changed or been added here? The creative aspect from Level 3 unit, Creatively Colour and Lighten Hair. Observations have increased from 4 occasions to 6 occasions, and this is to allow for covering 2 out of the 3 lightening application techniques. Use creative sectioning techniques to personalise the colour result and enhance the finished look, and toning through bespoke and creative formulations like colour blending or shading. This has been added and mapped to the endpoint assessment. Unit 304, Provide Client Consultation Service, again business as usual. The assessor will observe these aspects of the apprentice's performance as part of all technical observations and will record at least 5 occasions. These recorded observations must cover different technical services. Unit 305, Smoothing and Strengthening Systems, is a new unit not based on the National Occupational Standards. This unit has been developed and mapped to the endpoint assessment. The apprentice must cover all of the following ranges across 4 observations. The following ranges are maximum volume reduction, volume control, curl management and conditioning effects. They must cover all the following hair classifications: Type 2 wavy hair, Type 3 curly hair and Type 4 very curly hair. There is no online or short answer test for this unit, as the unit includes a smoothing and strengthening systems assignment. The apprentice is required to complete 3 case studies over 3 clients on volume control, conditioning effects and smoothing services. Unit 306 is our old Unit 402, Develop, Enhance and Evaluate Your Creative Hairdressing Skills, from 600803. It has been updated and the following added range has been mapped directly to the standard and the endpoint assessment. So Unit 306 has a title change: Use fashion-forward trends in hair to create a collection of hairstyle looks. The apprentice must create and evaluate 3 different hairstyle collections using precision cutting techniques, advanced colouring techniques and creative styling and dressing techniques. The assessor will observe the apprentice's performance on at least 1 occasion, and this can be from any of the collections, but for the endpoint assessment it has to be on precision cutting techniques. For the observation, I would probably use the advanced colouring collection or the creative styling and dressing techniques as the apprentice's practical mock observation prior to gateway. From the ranges on the slide, the apprentice must show that they have covered at least 1 of the types of activities, and photographic has been added here. Use 6 out of the 10 sources of creative information, covered 3 different hairstyle collections, and involved all relevant people. What has been removed here has been competition judges and makeup artists. They have been removed, and now it just has line manager, colleagues and audience all mapped to the endpoint assessment. The techniques are business as usual. These haven't changed. The apprentice must use 4 out of the 11 techniques, so there's no change there, and use at least all types of additional media, so there is no change there. To find information on the Level 3 Diploma for the Advanced and Creative Hair Professional, please go to the City and Guilds webpage. Type in 7004 into the search bar, which can be found in the top right hand corner of the webpage. This will take you to the landing page for the Advanced and Creative Hair Professional. Please download the Assessor's Guide, the Qualification Handbook and Assessment Information. At this point, I would like to share some facts regarding the qualification. Assessors and IQAs qualifications are required. You are required to carry out 50 hours of CPD, 30 hours hands-on and 20 other hours. The cross-unit knowledge test must be completed before any other test. Knowledge is tested through Evolve or paper-based tests. They are the same pass rate, percentage pass rate as 7002. To find information on the Advanced and Creative Hair Professional on the City and Guilds website, please go to the search bar in the top right hand corner of the web page. Type in 7004. This will take you to the Diploma for the Advanced and Creative Hair Professionals landing page. Please download the Assessor's Guide, Qualification Handbook and Assessment Information. I would like to point out some facts regarding this qualification. Assessors and IQA qualifications are required. 50 hours of CPD is still a requirement, 30 hours hands-on and 20 other hours. The cross-knowledge unit test must be completed before any other test. The knowledge test is either online or paper-based, and it's the same percentage pass rate as 7002. There are 2 new assignments which map to the professional discussion as part of the endpoint assessment. Here's an example of the drop-down menu from our landing page on the website. The current snip on screen is an example of where you will find various resources. Take a moment to look at the document list. If you have access to a computer or a device, you may wish to take some time and download or print some of these resources. At City and Guilds, we have resources to support you on the Advanced and Creative Hair Professional journey. We have a downloadable logbook, a qualification handbook, assessor's handbook. You will find the fast track approval under 7004 on our website. We have SmartScreen. SmartScreen provides online teaching and learning support for tutors, learners and assessors. Our high quality teaching and learning materials provide complementary support to the entire teaching and learning experience. I really wanted to open the assessment plan from the iFate website and highlight a few points, but unfortunately my technology isn't very good, and as I can't open the assessment plan on this webinar, I would suggest you download the published assessment plan, and I do recommend you take some time to read through the detail of the document. As I said earlier, the endpoint assessment is under development, and as I can't open this document, I would like to draw your attention to pages 5, 7, 11, 26, 27 and 29, as these pages gives us an insight into what the endpoint assessment will look like. Page 5, you will see what is covered in Assessment Method 1, the knowledge test, and how it will be administered and marked. Page 7, you'll see what's covered in Assessment Method 2, observation and questioning, and the overview of how it will be conducted. On page 11, you will see what is covered in Assessment Method 3, the professional discussion. You will see the overview and how that will be conducted. But if we move on to pages 26, 27 and 29, These pages really detail the knowledge areas that will be covered in the assessments. So if we look at page 26, assessment method 1 is the knowledge test. You can see there it gives you an overview of what the knowledge test will be made up of. Page 27, assessment method 2, observation and questioning. This could be asked as part of the oral questions, which will be asked prior to and after the practical assessment. On page 29, what skills and behaviours will be assessed by the independent endpoint assessor. Also on page 29, you'll find the knowledge and skills that will make up assessment method 3, the professional discussion. And if we look at the skills that need to be covered, we can start to understand what will make up the 17 pieces of evidence. At City and Guilds, we truly value our face-to-face network meetings. It gives us all an opportunity to connect and really network with each other. The networks also give us the tools and knowledge needed to build the learners or the apprentices' confidence and competence on their programme of study. The COVID-19 outbreak has changed the way we work. I have added a link here with the most recent up-to-date information we have. At the present time, there will be no face-to-face meetings, but we can keep in touch through Skype, Zoom, Microsoft Teams. I have also added a link to the Eventbrite page where all webinars will be advertised. Please contact me if you need any support at sarah.fioda@cityandguilds.com or call me on 0771 785 1613. Thank you so much for listening to the webinar. We will now answer some of your questions.